Hi, fans of high-quality entertainment. I'm ranking and reviewing all of Paul McCartney and Wings albums. And up next is Wings, Wild Life, the first Wings album from 1971. And by the way, I'm also reviewing and ranking all of the Beach Boys albums on my other channel, Canadian Studmuffin, so please subscribe to that channel. So I certainly have memories of when this came out, not particularly great memories, but I was 58, 68, 13 years old. And once again, one of my older brothers bought this album. And the first thing that kind of turned me off of the album, I love the album cover. And I don't think it shows it on this, but the back cover was kind of a little cheesy. I love the band photo that I didn't realize that Paul McCartney had drawn. But there were kind of like the early Beatles albums, you know, there was text and everything. It just looked a little cheesy for an album in the early 70s. But, it was a kind of a homespun. It was a first album. Yeah, so the back cover, if I remember, it was looking like this. And I just thought it looked a little amateurish at the time. Maybe a little cheesy. Imagine Paul McCartney and cheesy together. So of course, just like the first album McCartney, this was a shock to hear the very first time. Because it was, once again, very raw, not really produced, it was similar to the debut, like I just said. And so the first two songs, Mumbo, and right away I'm thinking, you couldn't really understand what he was singing. It didn't really make any sense. And that's because it was mainly just a bunch of gibberish that Paul made up on the spot. And back in the early 70s, you didn't really get any of that kind of information. You just think a song is a song, right? But they're just having fun and jamming. And through the years, I've grown to appreciate Mumbo and Bip Bip Bop. Which I even back then I did find catchy. I did kind of like that song. And so yeah, when I do these album reviews, I always go back to my first memories of them, and then I update them, and usually they're better liked now than back then. So Love is Strange, I always really loved that song. Great cover. Wild Life. Even through the rest of the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, one of my least favorite Paul McCartney songs. I basically disliked it. I didn't like his vocal. I thought he oversang it. I guess he oversang Monkberry Moon Delight too, right? But a lot of people love that song. But since this archive edition came out, I just have a new appreciation for that song. It's never going to be one of my favorite songs by Paul or Wings, but I really, really do like it now, and I think the vocals are great on it. And but by the way, as we go along in this series, just realize ever since coming back to Paul McCartney, because I kind of gave up on him after Pipes of Peace, I didn't really buy any new albums for a good 25 plus years. As I get older, I just have this new love and appreciation for his work. Not to say that there's not going to be some not great albums or great songs coming up. But some of you out there probably won't love albums like this as much as I do. Right? And then, side two, some people never know. I always liked, especially the chorus of that song back then. I liked I Am Your Singer. I thought that was catchy. Bip Bop Link is just a little bit of filler, I guess. Tomorrow and Dear Friend. I think I liked Tomorrow and Dear Friend not as much back when I was younger. But today, in playing this album a couple more times, even though I know it very well, played it last night, people have to realize with music in general, music is supposed to be, for the most part, uplifting, fun, enjoyed, right? And Paul at this time, he's just starting out this new band. They're getting to know each other. Denny Lane, Denny Sewell, Linda McCartney, who's just learning to play the keyboards. And the main jest of this album, and also his debut and Ram, is Paul is having fun. He loves music. And every song Paul writes doesn't have to be a Maybe I'm Amazed or a Hey Jude. Doesn't have to be a classic, but it can still be enjoyed, and it can still be a really good or even great song in my books. So yeah, Mumbo, I love the rawness of it. I love the guitars that come in. Bip Bop, like I said, is very catchy. Love is Strange is such a great cover. Great vocals by Paul and Linda. Wildlife, I now love. Some people never know, that's really grown in stature for me through the years, especially the last 4 or 5 years. I think the production is, it's probably the best produced song on the album. And there's different layers to it. It's almost like a pop prog song. I Am Your Singer, I love Linda's vocals. And Tomorrow, I've always loved, especially the ending where he kind of does almost like an Elvis kind of vocal. Dear Friend, of course, was supposedly written for John Lennon, and there's not much to the lyrics, but the lyrics are pretty deep for being not many lyrics to the song. And it's a very moving song. And then Mumbo, which is once again just a little tag on at the end, 46 seconds. I love when Paul gets really crazy and experimental. And even back then, I love that song and that last little tiny guitar riff that ends the album. I was always thinking, oh, I wish that had continued, or he had made a proper song out of it. I know it has to do with the first song, Mumbo, but to do an actual song, create an actual song out of Mumbo with real lyrics. But like I said, I love Mumbo the way it is, just a bunch of mumbling. And as you can see, I think during the recording of Ram and especially Wildlife, it looks like they were maybe smoking something. Just a little joke. The band is great. It's great to have Denny Lane in the band, of course. Very talented songwriter, guitarist. Really nice band shot here. So I think I'm going to be rating this album higher than most other fans of Paul McCartney. So in my rating, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. That's how much I love the album. And side 1, I would say, is very good, but it certainly wouldn't be a 9 out of 10. It might be like maybe a 7.5 out of 10. But it's side 2, which I think is just solid from start to end. And that would be a 10 out of 10, higher than a 10 out of 10, especially Some People Never Know and Dear Friend and Tomorrow. I Am Your Singer. I just absolutely love all of those songs. And like I said, I have a new appreciation for that one song I did not like, Wildlife. So in total, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. And it goes above McCartney, his first album. And it is in second place at the moment. And that is my review for Wings Wildlife. And the scary part is things would get better and better. And the other thing I wanted to mention about around this time period, I also remember, my brother buying 45s of Paul, and songs like High, High, High. It's like, yes, this is what a lot of McCartney fans want. We want him to rock out. And the one thing about his whole career is he did rock out, of course. But we wanted more of it all the time, more Junior's Farm type songs. His solo career and Wings, he did so many genres, he did so many things, he's Paul McCartney. And yes, I will be including Paul's new album in this series. If I need to slow down the series a bit before, the album is released, I'll do that. And afterwards, I'll probably do like top 40 Paul McCartney songs, because he's got so many great songs. And that is it. Thank you for watching. Next up is going to be Red Rose Speedway. Remember to like the video, leave a comment below, and make sure you're subscribed to both of my channels. Thank you. Goodbye.